Okay, so you want to own a wedding venue. India's wedding industry is worth an estimated $139 billion this year alone, with somewhere between 10 and 12 million weddings happening every single year. Sounds simple enough. Build a hall, hire a caterer, watch the bookings roll in. Except before any of that, you need to understand something almost nobody tells you about this business. You're not really renting out a hall. You're renting out about 4 months of the year and hoping those 4 months cover the other 8. Let's start with what this actually costs to get into. A basic banquet hall, indoor, no frills, runs somewhere between 40 lakh and 1.5 crore rupees to set up, depending on the city and the finish level. Push that into an open-air marriage garden or lawn venue, and the number climbs to somewhere between 1 crore and 7 crore, mostly driven by land. Construction itself runs 1,000 to 3,200 rupees per square foot, so a 10,000 square foot hall on the cheaper end alone can eat a full crore before you've hired a single staff member. And that's the mass market tier. At the very top of this business sits something like Umaid Bhawan Palace in Jodhpur, where a single 2-day wedding can run anywhere from 2 to 4 crore rupees. Catering alone starts at 10 to 15,000 rupees a plate, and the property won't even take your booking unless you commit to at least 65 to 70 rooms for 2 nights minimum. Here's the part that changes how you should actually think about this purchase. You're not just buying a building, you're buying a stack of licenses that no single government office issues together. A trade license from the municipal authority, a fire safety knock, a pollution knock, an FSSAI license if you're serving food, tiered by your turnover. Want to serve alcohol? Add a separate bar license from the state government, plus a 1-day excise permit for every single event that takes 3 to 5 working days to process. Music or dancing? Add an entertainment license on top. There is no unified event license in India. Every single wedding you host means re-clearing a checklist that spans multiple departments who don't talk to each other. Now let's talk about where the actual money comes from. Per plate catering charges run 400 to 2,000 rupees a guest, and for a mid-size wedding of 2 to 400 people, that's 80,000 to 8 lakh rupees in catering revenue alone, before the venue's own rental fee, decor, markup, or parking charges are added on top. Catering margins for the operator typically land between 8 and 20% net, though gross margin before overheads can be as high as 70%. The venue's own space rental separate from catering typically runs a much healthier 60 to 70% gross margin. Zoom out to the whole industry and the scale gets almost hard to process. Wedding season alone, October through February, generates an estimated 40,000 crore rupees in catering revenue across the country. This is where most new owners get the math wrong. This business doesn't spread its revenue evenly across the year. Roughly 65% of Indian weddings happen between November and February. During those months, prime venues in cities like Jaipur, Delhi, and Bengaluru are booked out 12 to 18 months in advance, and pricing runs 25 to 30% higher than the rest of the year. Then comes May through July, the off-season, where the exact same hall sits 20 to 30% cheaper and often empty, because nobody wants an outdoor wedding in peak summer heat. You still owe the same loan EMI, the same staff salaries, the same property tax and maintenance, every single month, whether a single event is booked or not. This isn't a business that loses money because of one bad decision. It loses money because the revenue is compressed into a third of the calendar, while the costs run across all 12, and the gap only closes if you had enough cash reserves going in to cover the 8 months nobody's booking. Time to pull it all together and answer the actual question. What does owning one of these actually look like, depending on which tier you build? Scenario 1. A basic indoor banquet hall. Investment 40 lakh to 1.5 crore rupees. Realistic annual bookings concentrated almost entirely in the 4 to 5 month peak window might run 40 to 60 events a year at an average rental fee of 1 to 2 lakh rupees per event, giving you somewhere around 40 to 80 lakh rupees in gross venue revenue. After staff, maintenance, and loan servicing carried across 12 months on 4 months of income, net profit typically lands in the 12 to 20 lakh rupee range if the off-season doesn't bleed you dry first. Scenario 2. An open-air marriage garden or lawn venue. Investment 1 to 7 crore rupees, most of it tied up in land. Larger capacity means higher per event rental, often 3 to 8 lakh rupees, and 30 to 50 events a year concentrated in the same peak window. Gross revenue can reach 1 to 2 crore rupees a year, with net profit in the 30 to 50 lakh range once you account for the land cost sitting idle for 8 months. Scenario 3, a premium heritage style property competing at the Umaid Bhawan tier. Investment: tens of crores, often built around an existing palace or heritage structure rather than from scratch. Per event revenue alone can hit 2 to 4 crore rupees for a single multi-day wedding, and even a handful of these bookings a year can generate revenue most mass market venues never approach. But the fixed costs, heritage maintenance, full-time staff, security, upkeep on a property that size, run every single day of the year regardless of bookings, and the pool of clients who can actually afford this tier is small enough that a slow season can hurt even here. So here's the honest picture. The wedding venue business in India operates inside a genuinely enormous market, $139 billion, and growing at over 15% a year. But you don't own a business that earns steadily across 12 months. You own a business that has to earn 12 months of costs and 4 months of bookings, wrapped in a stack of licenses that renew, expire, and multiply depending on what kind of event walks through your door that weekend. The wedding lasts one day. The bills don't.